Hey guys, welcome to my Powtoon. In this expose, I will explain to you all some of John Winthrop's background, as well as his significance as a leader. I will also go over the colony which he was governor to. John Winthrop was born in 1588 to a decently wealthy religious family. He was raised on an estate in Suffolk, England, which his father managed, eventually learning the ropes of managing it himself. This would play an important part in his role as governor later on. Winthrop eventually became a prominent figure in Puritan society. This eventually facilitated his venture to the New World due to King Charles I's persecution of Winthrop's religious affiliation. Essentially, in 1627, John Winthrop's world came crashing down around him and he was forced to take a second job as an attorney. However, even this could not make ends meet. Winthrop was convinced that God had a new plan for him, saying that there was a shelter and a hiding place somewhere out there for him. This hiding place ended up being the New World and the Massachusetts Bay Colony. When Winthrop heard that the Massachusetts Bay Company had received a charter, he immediately signed on. He proceeded to sell his estate in Suffolk. Soon after, he was elected governor because of his evident faith and experience. This is a map of the colony which John Winthrop governed. As you can see, this is adjacent to the Plymouth Colony, founded in 1620. The Massachusetts Bay Colony was founded in 1630, and during its first winters, its inhabitants experienced extreme hardships. During said winter, 200 colonists left, while another 200 died from illness and famine. The only saving grace was the arrival of more and more immigrants trying to escape the conflict occurring in England between Puritans and Anglicans. These new arrivals brought supplies such as clothing, window glass, guns, powder, and cooking tools. This is how the colony grew to be so prominent further on down the road, eventually gaining new industry and a population of around 20,000 people. Moving on, the Massachusetts Bay Colony was, as aforementioned, Puritan. The expedition to the New World was based on the search for a place to escape religious persecution in England. Ironically, England is the one that officially gave the charter to the Massachusetts Bay Company. To the government, this was simply a smart economical decision. It would be like investing in stocks today. However, they did not plan on the Puritans becoming hungry for an independent form of government, which is essentially what ended up happening. This is important because it marks early Protestant religious freedom, as well as the development of more independent colony. However, this does not mean that religious tolerance was prevalent in Massachusetts. This is due to the stigma that was formed around the idea of not being Puritan. Multiple people were in fact banished by John Winthrop due to their differences in religious ideals. While the state of the colonists improved, this could not be any further from the truth regarding the natives surrounding the colony. While in the early years of colonization, such things were peaceful, and trade was conducted between the two. Future years would prove to be much different. The Bay Colony was basically a staging area for a conflict known as King Philip's War, which was escalated as the Native Americans became more and more dissatisfied with the conquering of more and more of the New World. In the end, the English ended up winning the conflict and relocating them to islands off the coast. In the end, while John Winthrop ended up turning his back on the ideals which he founded his colony on, he still did a lot for the New World. He created the blueprint for Massachusetts in the form of a book named Christian Charity. At its core, it taught the values like God's overall plan, unity through Christ, and the overall care of the public. Anyway guys, that wraps things up.
Created using Powtoon.